Hello and welcome to My Favorite Movie Is, a podcast all about celebrating our favorite movies through fresh, positive takes from passionate movie lovers. I'm your host and fellow movie lover, Larry Freed, and you are listening to The Bonus Round, a fun spin-off segment from our main show in which we ask our guests a series of fun, sometimes silly questions in order to gain even more insight into their all-time favorite movie and why they love it. Questions like, what movie would you pair it with to make a double feature? Or what is your favorite moment in the movie's score? Or, in your movie's edition of Monopoly, what are the 6 playable tokens? You know, the important stuff. Today's guest is screenwriter, author, podcaster, and Jurassic Park expert Tricia Aurand, and her movie of choice is, well, Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg's high-octane prehistoric blockbuster classic. Now, if you haven't listened to our initial conversation with Tricia, all about how we just don't make movies like Jurassic Park anymore, but we still can, and how we can do that, you can check that out on the show page on whatever podcasting app you're listening on right now. You can also find it on our website at mfmipodcast.com/Jurassic Park. But for those of you who did your homework, I hope you enjoy the longest installment yet of the My Favorite Movie Is bonus round. Let's get started. If there was one character from Jurassic Park that you would like to get dinner with, who would it be?
Ellie Sattler.
Ellie Sattler?
Yeah, of course. Sattler is the best. I mean,
Isn't she just so amazing? Isn't she amazing? I was like watching Laura Dern in this movie and I'm like, this is incredible. Like I was just, especially in the second act or the third act, really, I should say, when she starts taking like more action. I'm this is one of my favorite action heroines of all time, I think. Oh,
I mean, big time. She's incredible. She does so much work in this movie. Laura Dern's performance is astounding. But also, I just can't, this is such a rare example of the way that, like, the lone woman in a movie is being treated. She's just treated with so much, like, respect and just, like, base level, like, here's another really cool ass member of the team.
Yeah.
And it just quietly among the most feminist portrayals of women in film from this era. So
I love how Dr. Hammond has that line where it's like, oh, but maybe I should be going. He's like, and everyone just collectively is like, what are you talking about?
The change in Laura Dern's face when she realizes what he's about to say, and she just goes, look. And then she immediately just smacks the radio into his hand and starts walking away.
It ought to be me really going.
Why?
Well, I'm you're
Look.
Come on, let's go.
We can discuss sexism and survival situations when I get back. You just take me through this step by step. I'm on channel 2.
Fantastic.
I just love it.
If you had to engrave one quote from this movie on your tombstone, what would it be? Not to get too existential about, death and stuff, but I thought it's a fun question.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, my gut instinct is like something probably that Malcolm says, right? Scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should. But there are so many good ones. Like, I love Hammond's lines in the scene where he and Sattler are talking about the flea circus and everything. And yeah, it's just, that scene's so beautiful where, she's talking about like, it's still a flea circus. It's all, I wish I had that one as down word for word as I do some of the other ones, but it's really beautiful.
Hammond, he says something like, I just wanted to make something that wasn't an illusion.
Yeah, I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion.
Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch.
It's still the flea circus. It's all an illusion.
When we have control again.
You've never had control. That's the illusion.
I have the bulk of this movie memorized, so.
Endlessly quotable. Endlessly. Yep. Do you own any Jurassic Park memorabilia or merchandise?
God, I wish. No, I don't. I don't.
Tricia.
No, but I do have a Triceratops necklace. It's not like a Jurassic Park Triceratops necklace. It's just a Triceratops. It's actually really nice. It was a gift and the chain was recently broken, but before it was broken, I wore it pretty much constantly and never took it off. So I do I do have dinosaur memorabilia, but it isn't Jurassic Park specific.
Well, it's a good thing it's a trike though, because then you can just think about that. Every time you just hold it, you can think about that beautiful scene.
I mean, that's basically that's what I did when I wore it. I wore it for easily. It was given to me in 2020, and I wore it for easily every day for a year, basically. And then the chain recently got broken. I'm gonna get it fixed though, because I'm obsessed with that Triceratops necklace.
It's wonderful. Aren't Triceratops just beautiful creatures?
Truly.
I love them. If you were curating a double feature, including Jurassic Park, which additional film would you program, and in what order would they be programmed in?
Oh, that's a tough one. My instinct would be to pick probably another Spielberg movie that I thought that the person I was showing it to would be less likely to have seen. So something like Close Encounters, which is a little out of fashion now, but was like a huge, huge movie when it came out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Another movie that's like a big spectacle movie would also be probably a good one to go with, or that's also kind of scary, thrilling. So something like Alien would be amazing. Obviously, Jaws is kind of like an easy pick with that. I guess you could go a different direction and pick a movie that's sort of like similar questions about technology, right? Like you could do The Matrix or something, right? Where it's still questions about like technology, paranoia, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think maybe something like Close Encounters is what I would pick. You know what? I would pick E.T. and I would make Michael watch it.
Doing the Lord's work. Thinking about it right now, for some reason, Tremors is coming to mind.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Certainly nothing to do with the dramatic questions of the movie, but both movies that gave me this sense of wonder, I guess, because the practical effects in Tremors, I think, are honestly incredible. I think that those effects still hold up and both movies are fun. And they don't take them. I mean, Jurassic Park takes itself just seriously enough, and Tremors maybe takes itself a little too seriously with the budget and cast they were working with. But they're such good times, so much fun.
Oh, yeah,
and I also thought to myself while I was watching Jurassic Park, I'm like, this movie has more in common with horror than it does with action.
Oh, that's kind of why I thought about Alien, to be honest. Which is like,
Alien.
It has, I don't like horror movies. But when it comes to like something that I just want a few good scares while I'm also on a real like thrill ride in terms of the characters and the themes and everything like that. Alien, I feel like, has a lot in common with Jurassic Park in that sense, where it's like, it's not cheap horror. The monster stuff is handled really well. And meanwhile, everything else that's going on is super fascinating with all the characters and like the world of the story and everything. So
absolutely. That's another great one.
I think that's also why Jaws is probably a good comparison with this too, because that's kind of a horror movie also. And it's also a monster movie, of course.
Yeah, they are all these sort of, I mean, I think Alien is probably the most explicitly horror of the ones that we've talked about thus far, but because that one literally, I mean, the creature of the xenomorph is probably the closest, that like Alien is the closest horror in the sense of abstraction and creature-ness that defines the genre, but all four that I think we talked about would be great. Is there a book or an article or some other published work that you think would make a good piece of further reading?
If you have not seen the making of documentary, the making of Jurassic Park, that is absolutely essential viewing if you like the movie. It was on the VHS like box set. One tape was the making of, and it's a feature length like making of documentary on Jurassic Park.
Incredible.
And it's excellent. So definitely strongly recommend that. Obviously, you could read the novel, which I really do recommend as well. If you have not read Jurassic Park, the novel, I mean, it's very different.
Yeah.
But, Crichton co-wrote the script, and it's a really fascinating, like, peek behind the curtain at the adaptation process, which is really interesting. So definitely would recommend both of those things. There's like lots and lots of reading you could do on Jurassic Park, although it hasn't actually been treated with sort of like the serious criticism that a lot of other Spielberg and other even movies from this era have been treated with. So like Jurassic Park hasn't really historically been given that same serious film critic hat treatment, because I think in the film criticism community, it's a really well-respected movie, but I would say it's not often considered to be like a serious film, right? It's more of just like a popcorn kind of, like a really, really maybe the best popcorn movie ever, but it's kind of like a popcorn movie. But you could very easily analyze it to that extent.
If you could have been a fly on the wall for one day of the production process, either pre, current, or post,
oh God.
Which would it have been and why?
It's the T-Rex scene. I mean, they shot that scene for days and days, but with the rain and they have the actual animatronic T-Rex head there, and it keeps like moving, it keeps like glitching and up because it's like, a machine, and they keep throwing rain at it and water at it and everything. I feel like you had to know even then that what you were making was something really special. You've got an enormous, amazing looking T-Rex head that you're just like, is just being controlled and moved around, and the actors are interacting with it, and just how fantastical.
And the transition from puppetry to CGI is, I can't even call it seamless because I don't know if the seams are there. There are no seams.
That's a real dinosaur. I'm very sure.
Yeah, 100%. They really bred those things.
It's that scene, and then the raptors in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Where I pause it even now, and I like go up to my TV, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, how? How?
Oh, my favorite is the feet, the raptor feet with the single claw tapping on the floor. I'm like,
it's ridiculous. I just wish they made movies like this anymore. Like, why not put a real object in the same room with your actors? Why does it have to be just like a green ball? Like, put a real object.
What was that funny quote from Michael where he says, like, this tennis ball is your best friend?
Yeah, exactly.
Act with this tennis ball.
To actors' credit, like actors these days, to their credit, they're, basically all of our big movie actors are really good at that now.
They're doing the best they can.
Aren't they? But that, that certainly wouldn't have been standard practice back then, having to try to work with like just a green screen nothingness or, motion capture thing. So I'm very, very thankful that the actors in Jurassic Park had real objects to interact with.
Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. The scene with the Brachiosaurus to me.
It's beautiful.
Just when they feed it, it's just I shed a single tear.
I love how its mouth moves like a cow, where it's like it's got sort of that circular rotation to the jaw. It's so adorable.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And it's so, talk about wonder. That moment to me is probably, I mean, the T-Rex moment would be the moment of the most wonder if I wasn't like physically like cradling myself out of fear. But the moment with the Brachiosaurus is just, that to me is like, and even, I mean, this is maybe the first time I'd seen Jurassic Park in like, I don't even know how long. It had been a long ass time since I had seen the movie in full. But that moment always sticks out to me whenever I think of Jurassic Park. That's to me like poster image for me, because that is like that wonder that you're talking about. That Brachiosaurus scene, obviously Grant and the kids, the way they interact is playing a huge part in that too. But it's this beautiful, like almost like romantic in the classical sense kind of moment, like romantic with Grant and the dinosaurs, and this moment of full coalescence with everything that's happening like within the film.
Yeah.
Totally. I could go on.
A few years ago, I got to host a screening of it for some like middle schoolers, and a bunch of them had never seen it. And that was incredibly rewarding. I still know two of those kids, and Jurassic Park is their favorite movie. And so it's like,
amazing.
I did that. Like, I got to
the
show
cycle
it to
continues. The cycle continues.
Yeah. And so that was incredibly, that was just a wonderful experience. And getting to work with youth, this is one of the main reasons I volunteer with youth, is because I get to introduce them to some of the greatest movies ever. And like, I get to be the person that sits them down and like, we're watching Back to the Future. Buckle in, everybody. And like, they've never seen it. I showed The Sixth Sense to a group of high schoolers like a couple years ago who didn't know anything about it, and had like didn't know the twist, didn't know anything about it. And I just got to listen to them like scream and gasp and like just get their worlds rocked and their minds blown.
Oh my goodness. Maybe I need to start volunteering with the youth. How, in what capacity do you volunteer? What are you, I mean, are you a teacher? Do you show films in that way, or is it something else?
I was a teacher for many years. Yeah. I was a teacher basically for my day job throughout my 20s when I was, working, doing screenplays and things, but like very inconsistently. I was teaching after school enrichment programs, English and writing, which was amazing. And I did get to show films occasionally there where we would like read Fantastic Mr. Fox with my second and third graders. And then we would watch the Wes Anderson adaptation, which is amazing. We watched Coraline because I would read Coraline with my fourth and fifth graders and that kind of thing. But then also I volunteer at my church with all of the youth at my church. And I get to like hang out with them in a variety of capacities. Like a bunch of them are like into drama too. So sometimes write plays and direct plays with them at church, which is really fun. But yeah. And then I also get to show them movies.
That's fantastic. Curious how a bunch of Christian people would feel about Sixth Sense. While just straight up exposing themselves to that. That's funny to think about. That's
another conversation for another time. I think that I mentioned coming from a very conservative religious family. I will just say that the church that I'm a part of now is not a very conservative.
That helps. That definitely helps.
Yeah, quite the opposite, in fact.
Great. I mean, I might already know the answer to this, but what is your favorite musical moment in the film?
Oh, God. There are so many.
And a lot of the themes repeat themselves. So this is kind of a hard question.
The first one that came to mind is the opening credits.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. The like, boom. Is amazing. Starting it off. But then, we had the soundtrack on CD and we would just listen to the soundtrack over and over again. So I know the music of this backwards and forwards. Journey to the Island is a piece of music I really love. It's the one where it's like da 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 as they're like flying in the helicopter.
I was also thinking of the helicopter. And also I was struck by the moment when they drive to the visitor center. There's like this very like march. I don't know if that's what you were referring to before.
It is.
That march kind of thing. It was like
it's a great little march. That goes to the visitor center. Obviously the finale is incredible where, the T-Rex is there and then you've got that great big huge score at the end with the brass fanfare essentially and the timpanis going, as I mentioned. I love the flea circus piece of music. I've talked about that scene already.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm. It has those like little chimes going that sound almost like a music box. Really beautiful. John Williams, ridiculous.
In Jurassic Park Monopoly, what would you pick for like the little tokens, like the 6 little playable tokens? Who would they be?
I get to pick all 6 of them?
You get to pick every last one.
Okay, so, you have to have 4 dinosaurs. Ooh, now I've got to narrow it down, actually. So you have a T-Rex and you have to have a Velociraptor. Probably should also have a Triceratops. And then that leaves you with, like, a people problem. Actually, you should probably have a Jeep as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably you have Grant and Hammond because those are so, they would make good Monopoly pieces, right? Grant's got his hat, Hammond's got his cane. Like they just would have like these little iconic things that you could easily identify. And if you had more room for more pieces, you could probably also have like Sattler and Malcolm. That's pretty good, right? Like 3 dinosaurs, a Jeep, and the 2 central characters.
It's just Jeff Goldblum in his position when he's lying down injured. That's the Monopoly piece.
Shirt open, just lying
Shirt
there on
open.
the side.
Didn't they make I remember there being like a statue made in a town with that actual position of Jeff Goldblum, but like not injured.
Probably.
And he went to it, I think, and it was a really bizarre meta moment.
That's funny.
Last question. And this doesn't really have to do with Jurassic Park. This is a bit of a broader question. In the Tricia Aurand Film Festival, alongside Jurassic Park, what does the day look like? The schedule of programming for a single day?
No, boy. So I just get to program anything I want?
I mean, ideally it would be like your favorite films, but I mean, if you want to go go bonkers, you're allowed.
Okay. Well, it's Jurassic Park and Casablanca and No Country for Old Men and The Matrix. I've gotten that far. And there's so many others. It's stuff like Singing in the Rain.
That's a full day.
That'll do it. Okay, great. I just have so many more. The Coen brothers are my favorite filmmakers. Although I also I could definitely wax poetic about many Spielberg films. Like Jaws is definitely up there. E.T. is up there. But I just love so many of the Coen brothers movies as well. I love Lebowski. I love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I love just so many of those. I was going to say Fargo, but Fargo actually still kind of upsets me, but it's so good.
Of course.
But yeah, there's so many.
While I have you here, since we're really in the conversation, can we just gush about Tragedy of Macbeth for a hot second? Because that film is...
Yes?
Yeah, that film is
so
insane. Insane. I saw it at the New York Film Festival a few months ago. With Steven, actually, who's with me right now, who's my production coordinator. And I saw it twice. I saw it the second time this past week. I thankfully got to see it in the theater again before it dropped on Apple TV Plus, which I was so thankful for. Oh, my goodness. It has maybe some of my favorite visualizations of Shakespeare I've ever seen. Not just in terms of the compositions, but also just the way that, Catherine Hunter as the witch is...
so amazing.
Alarmingly so.
And I just love the approach of all of it. Just the entire direction to we're going to build these enormous, abstracted sets, huge empty sets that are sort of Escher-ish with their staircases and archways and all of this stuff, and shoot it in black and white. And just Denzel is amazing.
Absolutely unreal.
Within the first few lines that Denzel delivered, I just felt something in my chest go oh my God, he's so good. I love Frances McDormand. She's amazing in this. But for me, this is Denzel's movie. And I'm floored by that performance. Everything about it is so cool. Why are they so cool? The Coen brothers are so cool.
They're so cool, but I was afraid, Joel Coen going out on his own, making a movie. I was uh-oh, here we go. What's this going to look like? But it's one of my it might be in my top 3 movies that they've ever made, or at least that Joel Coen has ever had his stamp on. I love the cauldron scene, the way that he chose to put Macbeth in the cauldron. Obviously it's not a cauldron, it's very much it's a cauldron within his own existence. His existence is the cauldron, and he's experiencing everything from within it. And it's just I honestly struggle to fathom it. And my favorite thing about the whole movie is I was reading an interview with Joel Coen, and he said that everything except for the last shot in the movie is done interiors. Every single shot. Astounding. I kind of knew that. I feel like I knew that somewhere deep down within me, but it's I think of that forest, the hallway forest, what I'm going to call it, which it gives a perfect sense of feeling like you are outside but still trapped within a space. I don't know, man.
It's so good. I didn't really know what to expect. I was what are you guys going to do? Are you going to go out and film on the moors, or what are you going to do? And the answer is no, we're going to build these incredible sets that are just so set-like and just remind you of the experience of the play part of it, where it's so keeps you so focused on the characters, but creates this really strong mood. And I keep thinking about that courtyard. There's the shot that's far back where you're looking into the courtyard when Duncan and all of his entourage arrive, and it's just archways and stairways and these harsh lines of light coming down, and the people are so small in the frame all the time, and it's just it feels like, yeah, you're standing on the stage. You yourself are standing with the actors on the stage in like a huge empty theater, maybe. And the like sound design is so incredible too, with like how big and open those spaces really feel. Nothing is soft, right? Like you're talking about like the prison, like claustrophobic sense of it. The spaces are enormous, but because they're just so empty and so hard, everything is so like concrete and stone, and like everything is just so hard that you feel like you're in this, really elaborate maze. Like I said, like this, Escher sort of drawing. How dare you, Joel Cohen?
And with that, on that note, thank you, Tricia. It was such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
It was such an honor to be here. Thank you, Larry.
Oh, I love hearing that. Thank you, Tricia. So tell me, listener, what movie would you pair with Jurassic Park to make a double feature? What is your favorite moment in John Williams' breathtaking score? And did you see The Tragedy of Macbeth? And did you love it as much as Tricia and I did? I don't know if that's possible, but I want to hear about it in the My Favorite Movie Is Discord community. Now, I know that joining yet another online community can be a hard sell these days, especially as the discourse in the film community in particular can be incredibly toxic and judgmental. I've experienced it firsthand. I'm sure you have too, but I implore you to give us a chance. You will find none of that in the My Favorite Movie Is Discord community. We are a group of passionate, positive movie lovers who want nothing more than to hear your stories and to welcome you with open arms. And unlike a lot of online film communities, we actually watch movies together as a group. We stream them through Discord, through the voice channels, no streaming services on your end required, no need to sync it up at a certain time or with other people. You just hop into the voice channel, watch a movie with us, and enjoy. A few weeks ago, we all watched Jurassic Park with Tricia in light of our episodes on Jurassic Park happening, and it was an incredible experience. We all had a ton of fun, and we're going to be doing it for every movie we cover on our show, including the next one, which is The Sixth Sense. We'll be talking to writer, director, and actress Anna Chazelle all about M. Night Shyamalan's debut feature, and we're going to watch it together in the Discord community, and I'm really excited because I have a feeling that some people joining us will be watching it for the very first time, which is awesome. So, if you want to join us for our community watch party of The Sixth Sense, which I know you do, it's much better than streaming it alone on Amazon Prime, I can guarantee it. Click on the link in the show notes and join us in the My Favorite Movie Is Discord community. It is 100% free of charge and here for you. I hope to see you there. And one quick update before I sign off. Sorry about no upload last week, just due to life things. It didn't really work out. However, in order to catch up on that lost week, we will be posting both the initial episode and the bonus round for The Sixth Sense on Monday next week. Usually we upload the initial episode one week and then the bonus round the next week. Just to catch up, we'll be posting them both. So I hope you enjoy getting a double dose of My Favorite Movie Is next Monday. And by the way, if you were confused why there was no episode on the feed this week and you didn't really know what was happening, we did announce it on our Twitter at MFMI Podcast. You should be following us there so that way you can keep up to date on any announcements on delays or anything like that. All right. Roll credits. My Favorite Movie Is a Larry Freed Presents production. It was created by and is currently hosted and produced by me, Larry Freed. Our sound recordist for this episode was Stephen Reyes, and this episode was edited by me, Larry Freed. Our graphic designer is Monica Sarmiento, our motion graphics designer is Elton Greenfield, and our theme song, Now and Then, as well as all original music featured on this show, is composed and performed by Matt Gorduke. A special thank you to Tricia Aurand for being a wonderful guest and for being so generous with her time, and a huge thank you to our patrons, Sean, Taylor, Mo, Raffi, Tony, Keith, and Charles. Thank you guys so much. You are literally why this podcast continues to be. So you deserve some recognition. Did you know that patrons get uncut and ad-free versions of every episode of this show just for $5 a month? That's a pretty good deal. That is double, sometimes triple the amount of awesome podcast content. all for just a little bit more than your average cup of coffee. So if you want all of that juicy, juicy content and you want to help support My Favorite Movie Is and help it continue to be, you can visit patreon.com/MFMI podcast. This has been your host, Larry Freed. Thank you so much for listening to My Favorite Movie Is.